Welcome to Digging Deep. I'm Mark Sutcliffe, and I'm very excited to present the latest episode of my relaunched podcast, which is focused on my new role as Mayor of Ottawa and connecting with interesting people who have an impact on our city or come from Ottawa or do amazing things in Ottawa. Our guest today is the incredibly inspiring NFL linebacker Jesse Luketa. Jesse Luketa grew up in the Ottawa neighborhood of Herongate, where he lived with his single mom, Rose, and his 5 older sisters and 2 older brothers. He calls himself a son of the village because he says it took a village to raise him. Jesse learned about football by playing a video game. He was encouraged to start playing by a friend, and he suited up for the first time at age 10. And at that time, he was determined to one day make the National Football League. He left home at 14 to attend a school in Pennsylvania so he could play football there. And 3 years later, he joined Penn State and was playing at the highest level of college football in the United States. Jesse was drafted in the 4th round of the 2022 NFL Draft by the Arizona Cardinals. And in 2022, he played 7 games with Arizona. This is a great story of perseverance and determination and goal setting. But Jesse's story goes far beyond football. He calls himself an athlete with an agenda. He wants to be a role model for young people in Ottawa and beyond. And he's already begun to give back to our community, even though he's still just 24 years old. When Jesse returned to Ottawa in the summer, I proclaimed July 4th, 2023, Jesse Luketa Day in Ottawa. And we had a great conversation at an event at Ottawa City Hall. So let's start digging deep with Jesse Luketa. Okay, I think I'm officially a Cardinals fan now, Jesse. No other way,
You don't
right?
have a choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's so great to have you here at City Hall.
Thank you for having
And
me.
I should tell people I normally wear a tie to the office every single day, and I thought, we've got this NFL player visiting. I probably am overdressed for the occasion, but I guess not. I guess I wasn't. I should have kept the tie.
Yeah.
So I was hoping you could just talk a little bit about, and by the way, you're getting reacclimatized to humidity because you're from the desert now, right?
So I'm used to the dry heat.
Yeah. You're used to dry heat rather than humid Ottawa. But maybe you could start by just talking a little bit about your childhood in Ottawa. And you were one of 8 children. Your mom, Rose, obviously is an amazing woman. Can you just talk about what life was like growing up in Ottawa?
Absolutely. Growing up in Ottawa, what I remember most is being able to be raised by my villager supporters, whether it was my siblings, my coaches, even my teammates who welcomed me into their families with open arms. And I pride myself on that. I refer to myself as the son of the village because I wouldn't be in the position I'm in without my villager supporters who allowed me to, whether it was get me to and from practice, 2 games, a hot meal when I needed it, and I'm forever indebted to them and forever grateful for it. And that's just, when I think of Ottawa, that's what I remember most. The collective pursuit to me pursuing my dreams and not only doing it by myself, but everyone who was along throughout the journey, throughout the whole entire ordeal. So I'm extremely indebted to them and extremely grateful for it. But most importantly, like you said, with my Instagram handle being Ottawa's very own, I pride myself so much because I started in Ottawa. I was born in Edmonton, but I always show love to Edmonton as well, but Ottawa is home. It's where I was raised. It's where I made my memories. It's where I decided to start picking up a football and, pursue my dreams and aspirations of playing at the highest level. And, without the people who allowed me to do so here in Ottawa, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. So I owe it to this city, and, I pride myself on making sure I put Ottawa on the map, but most importantly, inspire the next generation of kids who want to do what I'm doing. I want them to do better than me, bigger than me, because, that's what, we do here in Ottawa. So I'm extremely proud and, honored that you decided to make this day such a prestigious day from not only myself, but my family and my loved ones who are all in this room today.
Yeah, this is for your family too. Absolutely. And could you talk a bit more about your mom? I can only imagine what it was like for her raising 8 of you.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, honestly, what people don't know is my mom didn't want me to play football at first. So, I mean, it worked. But my mom, she's my rock. I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now. You know, she's my motivation. I've seen her, you know, struggle for so long. And I remember there was a point in time I was a little kid, you know, playing football. I was a nobody at this time. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the best player on my football team at the time. But I remember just watching how she would carry herself, how much of a great person she was. And I just seen how she'd always struggle, but she never she shied away from my siblings and I. My older siblings, I feel as if they knew what, you know, her situation was, but she always did a very good job at hiding it from me. So I didn't really, I knew we didn't have it, but I didn't know we were struggling. But I remember there was one day I kind of promised her when I was a little kid, I was like, listen, you're not gonna have to struggle anymore. I'm gonna go play football. You know, at the time, she kind of shrugged it off. She shrugged it off, but, you know, I meant that. You know, I'm the type of person, and when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So to be in the position I'm in now, you know, wherever I may go, whatever, you know, doors I may break, you know, it's all because of her. So I'm extremely indebted to her, and we did it.
It was a team effort, right?
Absolutely.
Team
Collective.
effort. So where did that passion for football come from? Because you weren't interested at first, right? So how did that passion for football develop, and how did it turn into this relentless effort to make it to the NFL?
It's a funny story. One, I used to play basketball, but I'd always foul out in basketball. I was too aggressive. So then one day, my mom and I were in the grocery store. I'm pretty sure we were in the superstore. And you know how they have those bins, you could get discounted games. She let me pick out a game, and I picked out Madden. I never played it before in my life. Started playing it. I fell in love with it. Mom, I want to play football. No, it's too aggressive. It's too aggressive. And then I finally convinced her. Like I said, I'm hard-headed, you know, so she finally gave in, and, you know, that was it. It was a wrap.
And why, you know, it wasn't just about playing football, but it was about going far with football. Why is that?
Growing up in the environment we grew up in, you know, we were, I would say, less fortunate, but, you know, you would never be able to tell. You know, I was a happy kid, a very humble kid, but at the same time, I had a very strong understanding from a very young age that if I wanted to pursue my dreams in athletics, I couldn't do it here in Canada, and that's one of the things I want to change. Those are one of the initiatives I'm extremely passionate about, because I was a trailblazer per se in that field, because I left home at such a young age. I decided from the time I was 14, I started sending out at least 150 emails or 200 emails a day to coaches in Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, California. It didn't matter. You know, I was a young, ambitious student trying to find a way to study abroad, and we didn't have the financial means, and that was the biggest thing I made sure to reiterate in my messages when I would email these coaches. And some coaches, they responded, some didn't, but the one who did was kind of, you know, he was shocked. This young little kid wants to pursue football so bad. You know, he may not have the financial means, but, you know, he was driven, he was hungry. He gave me the opportunity of a lifetime, and I never looked back. And, you know, speaking back to, you know, my villager supporters, he's a part of that. I wouldn't be in the position I'm in if, you know, he didn't open my message and, you know, give me the opportunity to come and, you know, study abroad. But I just knew from a very young age that I had to leave Ottawa. That's the only way, you know, I could find a way to really get a full scholarship. And I just think if I stayed in Canada, I wouldn't have the same opportunity. You know, I bet on myself. And that's one thing about me. People who know me very well know I'm always going to bet on myself. I have that competitive edge, and it's allowed me to reap the benefits of it.
That must have been really tough, though, leaving your family. You were how old when you left?
I was 14, about to turn 15.
Yeah. So you leave your family and you go to school in the U.S. to set yourself up to be able to play college football in the U.S. So how difficult was that to move away before you were even 15 years old and leave your family behind? It
was tough, but, you know, it was funny. I told my mom every day, Mom, I have to go to the States. Mom, I have to go to the States. But we didn't have relatives in the U.S. She didn't have the financial means to just, you know, send me abroad. These institutions, they were asking for at least like $10,000 to $12,000 U.S. So at that time, it was at least like $16,000, $17,000. We didn't have it. So she didn't know how it was gonna happen, but I just knew. It got to a point where I started to GoFundMe. My mom, she didn't like that. She's a very proud woman, but I told her, like, listen, if you really believe in me and my dreams, it doesn't matter how we get the money. I just got to get it. And I found a way, and I never looked back. It's crazy, the more I talk about my journey and my story, it's nuts. But it's God, honestly. Without God, I wouldn't be in this position. So I'm extremely grateful and blessed.
Tell me about the amount of hard work it took, because you're obviously physically gifted. You can't make it in professional sports if you don't have,
Sure.
certain attributes, but you've worked extremely hard. And tell me about the hard work and how you stayed motivated to keep putting in the effort.
I just say keeping that chip on my shoulder, because even when I was here in Ottawa, like I said, I was never the biggest, I was never the strongest, but the one thing I did have is I wouldn't let people outwork me. I was a hard worker, I was disciplined, and I just wanted it more. Even now, I was talking with my brother, and he was just telling me, the difference from, seeing guys in the NFL and the CFL, and what I've told him is, the one thing I've been able to see is guys are very consistent and efficient. And if you have those two attributes, then you can last a very long time in the NFL. And it's a relationship business. Being able to be a good person above anything else, and coming to work, blue collar, and just be an individual that people can one, be dependable on, and two, be an individual that you could be accountable. Those are characteristics and attributes that will go a very long way. And above all, humility. Humility goes a long way. So finding the right type of people to have that in your locker room, you can only go up from there. So I'd say those are the few things that I kind of kept very near and dear to me along my journey that allowed me to reach the heights that I've reached.
And just on that, how much of your success do you think is about your physical ability versus, the professional approach you bring to the game, the dedication, the commitment, the consistency, those other attributes? I
think those intangibles are more important than anything else, because the NFL, CFL, you can find a dude who's 6'6", a guy who weighs 250 pounds, runs fast, can jump high, but it's those little things, the things that you can't coach and you can't teach. It's either you have them or you don't. Grit, passion, dedication, hunger, the ability to be a good teammate, to lead. Those are certain things that you can't teach. It's either you have it or you don't. So I was fortunate to be raised in a household where my mom, she was a very selfless individual. She taught me how to treat people accordingly, just how to be a good person, how to respect your elders, how to respect others, and I'd say, treat others how you want to be treated yourself. So my mom's taught me a lot about life and myself, going in with football as well, because this game that we play, it teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you a lot of how to work in a collective group of individuals, and while working towards a common goal. So I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for my family and the things that they've been able to instill in me, and more importantly, for what this game's been able to teach people myself, and how I can apply it to life, and how I can apply it to the next generation, and whenever I'm able to be surrounded by these kids and try to teach them or drop some little gems of what I've been able to be taught.
Yeah, there's a group of young football players here today, and there's lots of other athletes who follow your career and want to learn from you. What are the lessons you would want to share with them? What's the message you want to give to young athletes?
I'd honestly say there's no dreams too far unattainable. I remember being a young football player here in Ottawa, and people used to laugh when I used to tell them, coach is my witness, literally my witness. They laugh. This is before I was as big as I am now, obviously. I was a scrawny kid with some big ears. I didn't grow into my body yet. My family, they can attest to it, but, don't allow people to tell you your dreams are too far unattainable, because they're either, one, scared to attempt them themselves, or two, just not willing to put the work in. So you can never allow someone to put a limitation on your life. If you want something in this life, go get it. And you can't have fear. It's either what's going to happen. You may get knocked down 5 times, but you get up at least 6 every time. So that's the piece of advice I would give to the next generation. Just go out there and go get it.
Go get it. Absolutely. Yeah. So at what point, you had this dream from the time you started playing football, that you were going to go to the NFL. But there are thousands and thousands of kids all over North America and all over the world who have that dream. At what point did you start to think, you know what, this might actually happen? When did that start to become clear to you that there was a path for you?
I'd say as soon as I started attending Mercier's Prep. So when I left Canada, I went straight to Erie, Pennsylvania. And I still wasn't receiving any interest from these universities and whatnot, but I just knew, like, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, just the little things, it's gonna happen. And sure enough, I had my first scholarship offer. It wasn't from a D1 school, it was a NAIA school. But the way I celebrated and, you know, I was excited about it, you would have thought Alabama offered me. So I just knew, once you get that first one, it's inevitable for the other ones to come in. So that happened. Then I got my first Power 5 offer, and then from then on, one turned all the way to 80. So it's crazy, snowball effect.
And let's talk about draft day. So you've been ranked. There's the expectation that you're going to be drafted.
Yeah.
But as it is for a lot of athletes, it becomes a waiting game, and you're waiting for your name to be called. And every pick that happens, you know, is it going to be you or is it going to be somebody else? Can you just walk us through that experience?
It was stressful. A very stressful moment, not only for myself but for my family. I have a very big family, so they came together to celebrate the special moment, and it got to a point where honestly I just wanted to hear my name called just for them more than myself. You know, I didn't want everybody to leave the event kind of with a sour taste in their mouth. But throughout the whole ordeal, I was talking with my agent. He just told me, listen, it doesn't matter where you go, you just need one team. There's 32 teams in the NFL. All you need is one team to believe in you. And so after a while, after the third round pass, after the fourth round pass, I'm like, at this point now, they're just, they're instilling a chip on my shoulder. Like, I have no choice now. I ended up getting a call from Arizona. They blessed me with the opportunity to welcome me into their locker room. And I just wanted to make sure, I told them from the beginning I was going to take full advantage of my opportunity, not only on the field, but, in the community as well, making sure I plant roots over there in the community and make my voice heard, and kind of, show them that, yes, we're a professional football team here in the Valley, but, we want to make sure that we have an outreach into the community, because that's ultimately what's the most important. But the journey itself on draft day was extremely stressful, but it happened.
Yeah, and can you describe that moment when you got the phone call?
So I broke a table when it happened, because I'm on the phone and my family's going crazy before they even tell me I'm drafted. So I can't even hear the GM. So I'm trying to find my phone. I found my phone. I'm thinking he hung up. He can't hear me. So they let me know they're going to draft me. That passes by. And I just had a sense of just gratitude for my family, for spending time being there on that day, and most importantly, just being along this journey throughout the whole entire ordeal. Because yes, getting drafted was a big accomplishment, but getting to the league wasn't the end goal. If anything, it's the beginning of what I want to do, leave a legacy here in Ottawa, and most importantly in Arizona, or wherever it is I'll be playing in the near future.
Getting drafted is one thing. Making the team is another. Becoming a starter is a whole other level. So how were you able to do that? What did it take for you to not only get drafted, but make the Cardinals and become a starter?
It's all about, honestly, taking full advantage of your opportunities. When I first got to the Cardinals, they had some veterans, Marcus Golden being, I think, a 10-year guy. And he had some injuries, but injuries are gonna happen. You're one injury away from having the opportunity you've been waiting for, or so you got to take full advantage of it. So Marcus got hurt. It was funny because at the beginning of the season, I had a great preseason, but something happened with it's a numbers game. Something happened with one of the corners. I ended up getting released, but then they signed me back. I'm on the practice squad. Baltimore wanted to add me to their 53-man roster, and as I'm in the facility returning my iPad, they're telling me, no, we want you to stay here. They countered, and so I stayed in Arizona. That same week, I got the most playing time ever, and I took full advantage of it. I kind of just showed my coaches that when the opportunity would present itself, I take full advantage of it and show them that, one, I'm a dependable player, and two, that I'm accountable. And that's the biggest thing in the league, whether you're playing in the NFL, the CFL, whatever sport you're playing. Coaches value a player that they know that they can trust. And that's the biggest thing that I kind of kept reiterating to myself, even when I was, going through it, because it's upsetting. You want to play, you want to contribute, but you just have to wait. Sometimes you just got to wait for that time, and when it does come, you got to be ready.
Yeah, I like what you said about being accountable, and I think that applies to more than just sports.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to have the social media handle Ottawa's very own? Why did you've made Ottawa such a big part of your story. There are lots of athletes who their brand is their own.
Right.
It doesn't involve their hometown, whether they come from Canada or somewhere else, but you deliberately chose to make this not just your story, but Ottawa's story. Why?
I actually made that tag when I was like in the 3rd, 4th grade, because I kind of knew I spoke it into existence. I knew there was going to come a day where I'm doing something positive in the sports realm, and I want to make sure I'm able to pay homage to where it all started and put my city on the map. So it made sense at the time. And I grew up a big Drake fan, so when he came out with October's Very Own, I just put a spun on it and kind of made Ottawa's Very Own, because I just knew. So now it's crazy that we're sitting here and it's a full circle moment. I really don't have anything else to say. It's crazy, a real full circle moment.
And this has always been about more than football for you.
Absolutely.
Right? So tell us more about that. What do you want your legacy to be, and what is this all about for you?
I see my legacy being something very special, where kids here in Ottawa know that they're gonna have the resources they need to chase their wildest dreams. Because I remember growing up, we didn't have that. I had a great support system, but I didn't have those relationships with the right individuals to push me in the right direction, whether it was football, whether it was basketball. I knew football was going to be my way out. I was going to be able to go get a great education, which I did, be able to have that to fall back on. And once I was able to, get my degree, I knew, all right, cool, now I can really put all my eggs in one basket and pursue playing football. So what I envision for this city and for the youth of the next generation is I want to be a voice. 2, I want to find ways to take the initiatives that I've been wanting to speak about for so long with my coaches or with my brothers, and we really put them into fruition. Whether it's sports facilities here for the underprivileged, everything, honestly. Whether if it's sports, education, because ultimately sports was my way out. For some, it may be education. And I want to find a way for us to come together as a collective and find what it may be. And once we do so, we invest into them. Because I feel I've been to a lot of places where there's individuals who they pour into the community and they invest into the community, and they start to see the fruits of their labor because of it. So I want to be that person that I'm able to do that right here at home in Ottawa, and really take it to the next level. We have 3 guys from Ottawa in the NFL. What's to say in 15 years, not even 15, 5, 10 years, we have over 20, 25. And just to kind of have a small hand to play in that would be extremely humbling for me. So I just want to help the next generation do bigger and better than what we've been able to do.
The reality is that, we celebrate your success and we're so proud of you, but there are so many kids your age who you would have grown up around who didn't get to have the chance you did, right?
Yeah.
That's the simple truth of, you're probably the exception to the rule, that you were able to be successful and achieve your dreams. So what are some of the things that we can do to give more people, or eventually everyone, the same opportunities?
I would honestly say keep these kids busy. There are a lot of times, a lot of my childhood friends that were getting caught up in the wrong things, making the wrong decisions. They had too much time on their hands. I was always engulfed in sports. If it was football, right after football, it was basketball. There was one point in time, me and my buddies, we were playing for three different teams during one season. Like, it went from practice to practice to practice. I don't recommend it for everybody because I was crazy on the body, but just keep them busy. Find ways, initiatives, programs, whether it's, basketball runs where they're able to just come into the gym, have access to something. Keep them busy. Keep them out of whatever it is they may be doing in their respective neighborhoods. But, just put them in a situation where they're not going to have time to be doing all that stuff. Because that would ultimately, for me, in my opinion, I think it would prevent a lot of things and a lot of kids from making a lot of bad decisions because they don't really have anything to look forward to. So what do? They start looking for things to keep them stimulated. That would be my piece of advice.
And when you are in Arizona, when you're in other parts of the U.S., people haven't heard of Ottawa.
Yeah.
What do you tell them about Ottawa? What do you say about your hometown?
It's the most beautiful city. Plus, it's 4 hours from Toronto. They know Toronto. Drake. So I just say, yeah, it's just 4 hours from there.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you describe it? Do you tell them about
Absolutely.
it?
You know, it's hard because I tried to, and they're like, oh, so like Toronto. Everything goes back to Toronto, but I'm like, no, it's Ottawa. It's the nation's capital. I remember one time I was in Arizona explaining, about Ottawa, and they thought Toronto was the nation's capital. I was like, no, Ottawa is the nation's capital. So just kind of, continuing to educate my peers, my teammates, on what Ottawa is like. I think it'll help next year when I'm planning. We're going to do a big camp. I'm going to bring a bunch of NFL guys here so they can, experience the city. So I'm going to be looking forward to that.
Awesome. And what happens to you when you come back to Ottawa? What memories rise up for you?
Playing football, the car rides with my childhood coach, with all my buddies. I still hang out with the same 5 guys. So whenever I'm home, I kind of kidnap them, bring them to my workouts. They hate it, but just kind of showing them that listen, nothing's changed. We're still working. Even when I'm home, I get to spend time with my family, see my nieces and my nephews. But the job remains the same. I got to keep working day in, day out.
Is it special for you when you're back in your community? I know
Absolutely.
There's a video of you going back to the neighborhood where you grew up.
Yeah.
What do you experience when you see your old neighborhood?
It motivates me. It just motivates me that this is where it all started, and I got to keep going harder. I want to be in a position where we're able to not only, one, invest into the athletics here in Canada, but, help the less fortunate, the immigrants who are coming here to Canada. Because I remember, as a first-generation immigrant, it's tough. So Ottawa is a place where I know there's a constant amount of immigrants coming here for new placement. They don't know anything else except for where they came from. And it's a very welcoming place. It's not like the U.S. In my opinion, Canadians are very polite. They're very welcoming, and I pride myself on that. So finding ways, in the near future, when I meet with the right people, on how we can continue to elaborate and make Ottawa, such an even better place. It's already a great place, but I want to make it the place. So those are some of my visions for Ottawa.
And what else is ahead for you beyond the next season of football? What are you still dreaming of?
One, we got to win. That's the biggest thing. I'm eager on winning, establishing a culture, and that was some of the things I feel as if we were lacking last year. My time at Penn State, one thing that allowed us to be so dominant and consistent was we had a standard, we had a culture. So kind of, it was hard for me as a rookie. You kind of don't want to speak out of turn because it's different. You're not going to tell a guy who's making $50 million a year what to do. So, but kind of earning their respectfully, and trying to shape and mold our identity and our standard. That's the biggest thing that I'm really looking forward to this upcoming season.
Anything else you want to say to your family, your friends, your hometown, your supporters here today?
I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting me, supporting my family. I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for you guys, so I'm extremely indebted to you guys. And I can't wait to continue to not only make this city proud, but everyone in this room even more proud for what we're doing on a daily basis in Arizona. And hopefully bringing the Super Bowl back here so we can have a parade.
Yes, that'd be nice. Jesse, we're so proud of you here in Ottawa, not just because of the football player you are, but especially because of the person that you are and the message that you bring to so many people, and the fact that you bring Ottawa with you wherever you go. We're so grateful for that. So thank you for all you've done. Congratulations on your success. You worked so hard.
Thank you.
To fulfill your dreams, and here you are. Just that. So congratulations, and thank you so much for visiting us today in your hometown.
Thank you guys for having me.
Jesse Luketa.
That is Ottawa's Jesse Luketa of the Arizona Cardinals. And that's it for this episode of Digging Deep. We will have more episodes coming soon. And if you want to hear more about what's happening in the city of Ottawa, you can subscribe to my newsletter at marksutcliffe.ca. It's full of fun information about what's happening in our city. That's marksutcliffe.ca. Thank you for listening.